Welcome to Deltek ComputerEase here on procedures on how to prepare and issue 1099s. This training will cover the following items: how to prepare 1099s, printing 1099 report, editing 1099s, printing the 1099s and the 1096, generating magnetic media file, and deleting all 1099s. Prepare 1099s. When preparing the 1099s, verify that the vendors for which you would like to print the 1099s are set up correctly. You can do this using the vendor maintenance screen, selecting accounts payable, maintenance programs, and then vendor maintenance. On the additional settings tab of the vendor dialog box, verify that the print 1099 checkbox is selected. You can also edit the name field if you want a different name to print on the 1099 than what is displayed on the tab. This is optional. You can select how the payments for a vendor are to be classified unless otherwise selected. Payments made to vendors are considered non-employee compensation. On the Settings tab, verify that the vendor ID field is properly completed and click Save. Another field that you need to verify is the checking account maintenance. Select Accounts Payable, Maintenance Programs, and then Checking Account Maintenance to verify that your checking accounts are also set up to properly record payments on 1099s or not. On the account screen, take one of the following actions and click Save. To exclude payments from one particular checking account from being reported on the 1099s, select the Exclude from 1099s checkbox. To include payments for any checking accounts that must be reported on the 1099s, ensure the Exclude from 1099s checkbox is not selected. To prepare the 1099s, select Accounts Payable, Reports, Print 1099s, and then prepare 1099s to begin the 1099 process. On the Prepare 1099s dialog box, take the following actions. Enter the year for which you would like to prepare your 1099s, and then select a range of vendors or leave these fields blank to prepare 1099s for all vendors. And then you can click OK. The system will report back to you the number of vendors for which it prepared 1099s. Note that the number displayed here is a count of how many vendors are in ComputerEase in this company, not how many 1099s it will print. Printing your 1099 report. To print the 1099 report, select Accounts Payable, Reports, Print 1099s, Print 1099 Report, and on the 1099 Report dialog box, fill in the fields as needed. Click OK. And depending on your selection in the Send Report To field, the report will display or generate an email or a PDF on the clipboard. Your report will be separated into vendors that will be issued a 1099 by type, 1099 MISC, 1099 INT, or 1099 NEC, and vendors that will not be issued a 1099. Editing your 1099s. Select Accounts Payable, Reports, Print 1099s, and then Edit 1099s. On the Edit 1099s dialog box, select the year for which you need to edit 1099 information, and then select the vendor for whom you need to edit the 1099 information, and then select which form you want to edit. A different screen will display based on the form type you selected. Editing 1099 MISC. For the Print 1099 drop-down list, select Default Yes or No from the drop-down list. Default will defer to the selection and vendor maintenance in the Print 1099 field. You can override the selection without changing it by changing the selection here. The screen will autofill any amounts generated when you prepare the 1099s. Make any changes you need to make and click OK to save the entry. Editing 1099 INT. For the Print 1099, select Default Yes or No from the drop-down list. Default will defer to the selection and vendor maintenance in the Print 1099 field. You can override that selection without changing it by changing the selection here. interest income, federal tax withheld, tax-exempt interest, and state tax withheld, you may manually enter any amounts in these fields. For the state or pay your state number, enter the state or local tax number if any state or local tax interest payments were made on behalf of the vendor. Editing 1099 NEC or non-employee compensation. The screen will autofill any amounts generated when you prepared the 1099s. When finished making the appropriate edits, click OK to save the changes. Your changes will be used when printing the 1099s if you do not prepare your 1099s again. Printing the 1099. Select Accounts Payable, Reports, and then print 1099s. On the 1099 dialog box, enter the year for which you want to print the 1099s. Select which version of the 1099 you want to print and load the appropriate form in your printer. The Vendor To field are used to filter your 1099s by vendor. Your company's federal ID, if entered into your federal tax table in the payroll module, it will automatically populate this field. Truncating SSNs. If you have entered an SSN for the tax ID for the vendor, select Yes if you would like to display only the last four digits of the SSN, or No if you would like to display the entire SSN. For the printer, this will default to the printer you have selected as your form's printer under Configure and then Configure User. You can press the F2 key or the question mark key to select a different printer, and then you can click OK. Printing the 1096. To print the 1096, select Accounts Payable, Reports, Print 1099s, and then print 1096. On the Form 1096 dialog box, enter the year for which you wish to print the 1099s. For Form 1099, select which version of the 1099 you want to print your 1096 to summarize. One 1096 form is required per type of 1099. Enter the contact information for the person in your office that is the contact. Pre-addressed form. Select Yes if you have a pre-addressed form. This will prevent your company information from printing on the form. For the federal ID, your company's federal ID, if entered into your federal tax table in the payroll module, it will automatically populate this field. Send report to, you can select printer, display, email, or clipboard depending on what you would like to do with this report. For the printer, if you are printing the report, select the appropriate printer in this field. Last, click OK depending on your selection in the Send Report To field. The report will print, display, or generate an email or a PDF on the clipboard. Generating a magnetic media file. From the Accounts Payable main menu, select Reports, print 1099s, and then create magnetic media file. There are three screens that need to be filled in or reviewed. The Step 3 screen will autofill with the new 1099 count. You can click Finish to create the file. It will save it to the clipboard, or you can move or save elsewhere on the network. Payments by locality. To print the Payments by Locality report from the Accounts Payable main menu, select Reports, print 1099s, and then Payments by Locality report. This report uses the payroll locality that is assigned in your jobs to generate the information. On the Payments by Locality dialog box, fill in the appropriate information, and then click OK. Deleting old 1099s. If you delete 1099 information for a year, you will have to re-prepare it in order to reprint your 1099 report or any 1099s from that year. If you have previously purged any accounts payable paid invoice data, you will not be able to re-prepare information for that year. To delete old 1099s, from Accounts Payable main menu, select Reports, print 1099s, and then delete old 1099s. On the Delete Old 1099s dialog box, enter the last year and the Delete 1099 information prior to field for which you want to keep information. The system will delete any prior year's information. Thank you for attending the Deltek ComputerEase year-end procedure on issuing 1099s. For more information, please review the year-end resources within the Deltek Support Center.